All right, we're back on MorningLine. Thomas Schwartz is with us from Vanderbilt University. He's a professor there, taking our calls and questions this morning from you on presidential politics. And next up is Grady. Hi, Grady.
Good morning, Nick, Professor Schwartz. The state of New York is investigating the Trump charities, Trump foundations, and they're fixing to put the whole family in jail for paying these 130 and 150 to Trump's girlfriends. He should pay the money out of the Treasury, out of the trust fund. We talk about the New York Mafia. This man had his Cohen lawyer around him for 15 years, and now we're calling him a bad lawyer, but he kept him for 15 years. How long does it take to discover a lawyer's bad? And then after they pled guilty and took the convictions, he goes to West Virginia and said, we're going to have clean coal. Clean coal, if you remember, years ago when you got to London, when you got to Murfreesboro, and you looked at Nashville, there was a black cloud over the city, and that was clean coal. And I'll hang up and listen to y'all's comments this morning.
It is funny, as you know, and Brady's right, the tweets that come from the president, and the one he sent out on Cohen was kind of personal. He said, if you're looking for a good lawyer, you might want to find someone other than Michael Cohen, something along those lines. But Brady makes a good point. I mean, that's the president. I think if you turn on him, and then he's going to turn on you right there in the moment.
Yep.
But I mean, how long did it take for him to figure out Cohen's not a good lawyer when he had him for over 15 years?
Yeah.
And you do wonder, I mean, gosh, I can imagine the stories Cohen can tell from the president's time before he was president.
Right.
I mean, when you've heard him called his fixer, and a lot of people have lawyers who are fixers, meaning they're the ones that step in when you get in a bad situation.
Right. And the New York real estate business is one that I'm sure is not very pristine, and Michael Cohen undoubtedly has a lot of secrets if he wants to tell them.
All right, let's go next to Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to make a comment. This is sort of off subject, but I think Trump has reached an all-new low. The way he's handled the poor student that got murdered, Molly Tibbetts. Immediately, he went out for his campaign and rally and started talking about that on the trail, and her poor family are grieving enough without him bringing all this up. And he didn't even mention that one of his Trump supporters had been employing this person for 4 years.
Interesting. I did think, and thank you for your call, Linda, that it was going to be quickly after that came out, because the accused, it was in this country illegally. And, it can politicize that. Now, some people are going to say, if we had a wall, he wouldn't have been here and she'd still be alive. But, I mean, I know even some of her family members have said, please don't politicize this around, our loved one who is now dead. And they don't want to paint everyone with the same brush. But that is going to be a rallying cry, I think.
I'm afraid
for those...
we're in a time when every tragedy seems to get politicized.
Yes.
People don't have any self-control, it seems, or politicians don't have self-control about immediately commenting, and Twitter and all the rest of these things gives an opportunity to get out there right away.
Yeah, right off the bat seizing on that, and I guess when it happened, didn't surprise me.
No.
You're right. Let's go next to Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning to the professor.
What's up, Taylor?
I am not an independent. I'm a Republican and a proud supporter of not the president's personality or him personally, but of his programs, and I stand by virtually all of those programs. And as far as all this hoopla over Manafort and lawyer Cohen, the only two things that apply to the president are these two charges of campaign contributions. And even though this Attorney General has decided those were illegal contributions, I think the professor might agree there are a lot of good legal minds that feel like those were not illegal acts. defended by the president, and that it was personal money, and he had personal reasons, being secrecy from his wife as to why those payments would be made, as much or more so than how it would affect the campaign. So those two questionable charges, in my opinion, are the only things out of all these cases thus far, might I say, that are questioned here. And
I'm wondering, Taylor, so I want to ask you this because you've been a caller here for a long time, and I really respect your opinion and your thoughts. And I just want to know, and I see this these days with passionate, supporters of candidates on both sides of the issue, and the ones that are so strongly behind someone. I wonder, at what point do you ever get critical of a candidate you support? Because I can think about candidates in the past that I voted for that I became critical of when I saw what they were happening. And I see some people, I truly believe in politics these days, there are supporters out there where literally, their candidate could shoot someone in the middle of the road and it won't bother them. They'll still support them. At what point does someone decide, yeah, this is too much for me, even though I voted for him?
Well, I think asked me that question before. I'm not sure. And certainly, shooting someone in the middle of the road would be over the limit.
Okay, because I'm telling you, there's supporters out there that wouldn't bother.
Well, maybe
or they wouldn't believe it. Or they wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it.
There are also supporters on the other side that are just as adamant, might I say, too.
I was just saying, it's not just with this president, it's with others. It was that way with President Clinton. It just didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I'm wondering, at what point does this partisanship, and I suppose you support the policies. Is it, and you said you're not always thrilled with the man. Is it that it's more that it's the Republican thing? Are there other Republican candidates that you would be more likely to support than this Republican president? Or is he the one that you just love above all else?
I did not vote for him in the primary election.
Oh, okay.
But when it came to the general election, that's who I selected, and again, because of the policies he was promoting, and not him. Often it is the man, but in this case it was the policies.
I gotcha. I think the whole thing about if he's paying these women off because he wants to protect his wife, I can't. You look at locally here with former Mayor Megan Barry, and what went down. That story, at least to me and in our station, and Phil Williams, who broke it, was not about whether or not she was having an affair with her security guy. It wasn't. Okay. There's infidelities, it happens in life. It came down to whether or not there was something illegal or taxpayer dollars were spent. That was the story. It wasn't, and so for Taylor, I see what he's saying. If he believes it was that, then as long as there was nothing illegal or it wasn't taxpayer campaign money, then he's okay with it.
Yeah, no, and I think his argument is the one that what I will be most interested in watching at the midterms is whether there are enough people like Taylor who still will turn out and vote for the Republicans, or whether, in effect, the Democrats, who are far more driven and motivated by their resistance to President Trump, will be the ones who turn out in the election.
And with that in mind, I do wonder, we had Reverend Fuzz call earlier, and he talked about Black Americans, and so I'm wondering, the turnout among Black American voters in the last election was short of what it was under the Obama years, and I think we can understand why. All right, so I'm wondering if that will change.
Yes, no, that is, I think, absolutely crucial to the Democrats' hopes, is that they can motivate their base among minorities, African Americans, others, Latinos, to come out and vote.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we'll take a break. When we come back, James, Bruce, and others, stay where you are. We'll take more of your calls in our final segment. Got some lines open if you want to jump in. Love to hear your opinions. Some really good thoughts this morning from both sides. Trump supporters, those who don't like him. I appreciate the diversity of all this, and I'd like to hear from all of you. We'll be back with more right after this.
No child